Okay, episode 2 of the Nicole Howard Show. So, welcome. I also mentioned that I may have a cat show up from time to time. Yeah, he's sitting behind me. I have no control over what he does. And these are pocket doors in this place, so he can open all of them. It's fine. He's fine. It's just a little warm having him share the seat with me. But I do. He's 17 years old and very great cat. Very happy I have him. And in fact, he's one of the things that really helped me get into sobriety. Yesterday, I mentioned, by the way, Big Bang Theory, that the show Fun with Flags was one of the things that kind of sparked some ideas for this one. But I couldn't think of what the study of flags is. Vexillology. Thought of it as soon as I ended the broadcast yesterday, but I wasn't about to re record that whole entire thing. So, I wanted to make sure if anybody was sitting on the edges of their seats and didn't just Google that fact, that's what that is. So it is today. Like I said, this is just the launch of my podcast. I gotta hand it to the people that start these things. I'm wondering if there's a service out there because getting everything loaded and posting it took forever. Now I've done the initial hard work, so this is all now that I've got it going much easier. But the first time, yeah, it was a little bit of a challenge. I am academically, I've always been very uh, academically inclined. However, and technology, especially, I mean, I can physically put together and hook up TVs and stuff like that. When it comes to, especially nowadays, all of these different sites and there's different menu items, and if it's on your phone it's different than if it's on your computer, and if it's something I've never used before and I have to accomplish something and it's not doing what it seems simply like I should be able to do, I get frustrated very fast. I just don't like the fact that I don't have control over the situation. I admit that I have no control stuff going on, but I just don't understand. If I can't wrap my mind around it, it's very frustrating for me. So after like I said, I'm trying not to swear, but I really failed miserably on that one yesterday. I got it posted, but it doesn't have my cover sheet on it because even though I did everything it said on the YouTube help video, I could not get off of the site my intro cover sheet with my picture and the name of my show added to the podcast. So that will come at a later time. This one's not going to have it either, by the way, because I'm not going to go crazy tonight trying to figure it out. I'm going to figure it out tomorrow. I've got some YouTube videos to watch. So exciting. So today, like I said, a little more about me. I talked about how I live in northern Michigan, near Traverse City. I live next to my family. I am clean and sober. I have some health issues such as MS. I also spoke about a condition that I got from COVID, but that's not going to be the focus of things. I really don't want it to be. However, I mean, maybe there will be some days where I do want to talk about, not just my health issues, anybody's health issues. I think that might be, if people want to have questions about stuff, and like I said, keeping your body in motion for somebody with MS is extremely important. And not to bog down. You gotta just keep moving. And also, I mentioned I have a sister that doesn't speak to me. And I haven't told anyone I'm even doing this yet. My parents, like I said, we have an interesting relationship, and they are very supportive, and I'm very grateful to them. But sometimes, when I tell them, sometimes my ideas about things I want to do, I've gotten frustrated with. I think my mom will be very excited. They might both be, but I guess I understand maybe why I got the criticism before when I wanted to be an actress. Yeah, that I did not have the backing from them I wanted when I said I wanted to be an actress. Actually, I wanted to join the Navy, become a fighter jet pilot, and then go to NASA and fly on the space shuttle when they still have one. And that, yeah, my dad was very against that, and my mom. And then it might have actually been, yeah, the Air Force that first tried to recruit me. In any case, they did not want that. Not at all. Then when I started acting getting into all my stuff, then they really wanted me to join. And I went and took all the tests. I did very well, but I did not end up entering. So I want to do uh, astronaut and then become an actress. And that is not the direction I ended up going at all. Uh, so if my family does find, they'll tell them about this, but I don't want my sister. She and I, like I said, have a um, basically a separate lives, and I am not blaming her for us not talking. She has her reasons, and I admit I was extremely hard to handle when I was doing all my stuff. Very, very hard on the family, and a lot of attention was taken off of her. I think my parents did a lot though to make up for that for her. So she has her reasons though now. I can't imagine what it would be like. At one point when we made up, when I was still in the midst of my using, she said sometimes it made it so they didn't focus on her when she wanted to be able to do whatever she wanted to do. But that was her younger years. So I think as it got into us getting both older, it just became too much. Again, she has her reasons. I am not putting this on her. That's fine. Yeah, like I said, we don't have the same political beliefs. Fine. That's if we made up, then we just wouldn't talk about it. That's how I would handle that whole entire situation. So again, back to more about me. I am. This is the rough beginning episodes of this. Um, Daily events today. I mentioned a couple things yesterday. Everybody. I would think if you are watching this, then I assume you pay attention to the news and just what's going on in the world. And as we know, Trump won the election. The Democrats and the Republicans are at each other's throats, and the Democrats are doing everything in their power to basically block. Would be, I guess, what I would say, block Trump from any of his intentions on doing certain things. And some of the things, like I said, I get, but I don't think that their attempts. I mean, singing a song and posting it on here, or bad mouthing, it doesn't solve anything. And actually, Trump is a very personable guy. He will sit down and talk to anybody, which is why you see so much of him. He likes to talk. He'll meet with people, even people that have called him horrible names. I mean, his own vice president called him a horrible name that starts with an H at one point. I don't want to say it because I'm sick of hearing that name. The only time you should hear that name is in history class when you're studying World War II, in my opinion. Uh, in any case, some vice president called him that. So if the Democrats would maybe let's sit down, let's talk about this is what we have issue with, and here's what we'd like to do to change it, or here's what we would prefer you do instead of your approach. I think that would be a much more realistic and solution and accomplish something, because what's going on now is not an accomplishment. So today I saw, for instance, on Waters was talking about and I got to look more into this, but from what I saw, it doesn't surprise me, all the money that was raised for the California fires. They did not apply all the money to helping with the California fires, which is not a big surprise. Where did it go? They are not entirely sure. Um, it's just one of the many mysteries of that entire situation. Like, why wasn't there water in the fire hydrants? We've got people, some of the most elite people in the world living in California and where these fires were, and pay a lot to live there, and their fire hydrants are empty. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist by any means, but this is just the way it is. The if you're a socialist, the communist way is to have everyone live compartmentalized lives in the same basically cookie cutter situation. And it's just like that goofball running Mandami, I think that's his name, in New York. He wants to take anything, private property away, give it to people that didn't work for it. And he is an absolute he's a communist. That's just all there is to it. And I don't know why no one's compared him to Adam Sandler and You Don't Mess with the Zohan, but for some reason he reminds me of him. His hair may not be as big, but his big smile, and I don't know, there's just something about it that makes me think of him. Uh, he's running on all these things of just take from the rich and give to the poor, which yeah, that's like the Robin Hood thing. But no, no, no. The way he wants to do it is he really feels. I saw an interview from 2020 that this podcast uh, that the people should that have these all these things have too much, and yeah, I think sometimes it's a little extravagant when people are out there, but that's what they work for. That's what they have. I don't think that means take from them and give it to somebody else. Um, so you got these people in California who've got some of the most entitled, rich, amazing lives ever, and then they have everything burned to the ground. And all those fires started. I watched a video. It was a satellite image from maybe Google Earth. How the fires all started at the exact same time, and they're still looking into what caused the one. Like it was like they flattened out California in that area so they can now build up and have it all be the same. And like I said, I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but it does seem interesting, all the factors that went into having that happen. The mayor leaves, there's no water. The water they can bring down from Northern California, Trump got that turned back on right away, which there were some things he had to understand. He can't turn some things on because you could flood areas, but uh, why did all those things did that all occur? And they said that they were going to make sure permits got put through really quickly. We're going to override this and that. Yeah, that is not what's happening. They are not getting everything to go through in any way, shape, or form fast. So I don't know what that part of California is going to look like. But on to the next thing I saw today was, and like I said, I'm just not going to be all political this broadcast, but I do want to talk about this. Um, and for those of you that maybe didn't see these things, I spoke yesterday of how Hunter Biden's running his mouth, and he actually said, I'm not exaggerating, I don't know how serious he was about him running for president, but I think that's all just a laughable issue. He's talking about his dad now, and that Ambien played a big part of his behavior. And that was Ambien's fault for the debate because they had been loading him up for the trip overseas prior to the debate, and then shove him on stage and he has to do debate, and he's got Ambien in his system. The debate was, let's see, he went overseas on the 14th, and the debate was on the 27th. I'm not an expert, but Ambien does not stay in the body for that many days. And also, that doesn't explain all the other videos of him falling asleep and just looking like he has no idea what's going on in Italy. And then he brought up the George Clooney benefit. Which again, George Clooney, don't we get me started on him. He says that when Obama came to pull him off stage, that was because someone in the audience had started to ask him questions about something overseas, and he was trying to like pull him from having him start answering questions. It was time to go, and he didn't want him answering stuff like that. Again, I think Obama pulled him off stage because from when I've rewatched it, he looks like he doesn't really know what quite to do. And maybe there was someone talking to him, but again, he didn't seem in any shape to confidently answer the question being asked, if that indeed what happening. It's all been smoke screens. We've been duped by the left, and they just everything's coming out now. So having his son sit there and defend him, just they don't want him to sit there doing this. They want him to go away. It's not helping the Democratic Party at all. Actually, I was fairly disappointed today when I saw an interview with Oh, what's his face? Jeff Daniels from, well, Dumb and Dumber, Speed. Uh, he's been in a lot of movies. He uh, said that he thinks anybody Republican, it doesn't matter if you're a Republican, even if you're a Democrat, you voted. Anybody that voted for Trump deserves to have basically no money. He hopes that everybody that voted for him is ruined. What a horrible thing to wish for somebody. Somebody who's got nothing to worry about. He's made his money. It doesn't matter if he works another acting gig or not. He's set, I'm sure, for life and can live very comfortably. He lives in a bubble like a lot of Hollywood does. And for him to say, just because he doesn't agree with what people who voted for the other party feel and believe, that they should be punished by having all their assets, anything they've worked for, gone. That's a horrible thing to wish upon somebody. I have, since this all started, especially when I found out that anybody that campaigned for Trump that was Hollywood, a majority, I should say, did it because they believed. I mean, Elon Musk spent a fortune. You got Sylvester Stallone and Mel Gibson, and the list goes on. And when I saw the Avengers people start supporting Harris, I thought, big surprise. But then to find out they were paid, Oprah was paid over $1 million. It might have been much more than that to to do her little spiel. And that's how the Harris campaign flew through over $1 billion in donations in a matter of months because they were paying people to do all of that. So maybe the people that were doing that for her supported her actual campaign, but they're also getting paid for it, and that's just not. That's I don't think it should be like that. I think you should be doing it because you believe in it, but they lost all credibility in my mind because even if I've never cared for what Hollywood's view on politics is in the past, it doesn't make me not like them. I still like their movies. I've still always thought the people were interesting and thought whatever, they have their own views. But seeing this behavior with them has made me really go, huh. I think if I saw those people in person right now, I would not be in the least bit interested to say, oh my gosh, look who it is. Because it's just disappointing to see that. I mean, they are human. People that are famous are just human. And that underneath the actor is some pretty disturbing, um, upsetting. The people they're just upsetting. It's upsetting behavior. So yeah. Anyway, back to that was the whole thing today. I saw from what I've researched today and watched, and uh, yeah, I think that I will be happy when gas prices though do go down more than just 10 cents. And where I live, it constantly go right back up on the weekends because I live in a tourist town. Very pretty where I am. It is. And actually, a lot of famous people have acquired and have, second, third homes here. Um, and it's a nice little vacation spot. But there's also the locals that live here year round that have to survive the ridiculously intense winters we have. I mean, one winter we got, and I'm not exaggerating, 4 feet of snow in one night. It was blue in our backyard. And I remember standing outside the night it was falling going, I can't see you. And my mom was standing 4 feet from me. I said, this is the craziest snow I've ever seen. And then, like I said, in the morning, I said, it looks like Antarctica in our backyard. Plus, we lost power within hours, but we had a generator, fortunately. Um, and it's very fortunately because we lost power for 8 days because we were one of the last people out in the county that got fixed. Um, so we've had some, and then it turned 80 degrees a week later. I mean, this was in March. So everybody's roofs were collapsing. It was intense. We went for a motorcycle. I ride motorcycles. I forgot to mention that. I was a motorcycle safety instructor for Michigan for a couple years in my early 20s. One of the youngest instructors, and one of very few women that actually instructed in Michigan. Um, started riding when I was 8 years old. I was riding a little Honda 80 at the Interlaken Grass Airport. And then I rode some dirt bikes and stuff like that. As I said, I mentioned I have horses, but I forgot about the motorcycle thing. Um, so I taught motorcycle safety, and that was actually really cool. And we would actually go to the racetrack, not to like professionally race, down at Grattan, which is a really good way to get that out of your system, so you're not doing it when you're out on the main roads. Which I mean, motorcycles are dangerous. It's um, not like in a car where you have a big, huge metal cage protecting you. However, I will say this: you pay a lot more attention when you're on a motorcycle. At least I do. I mean, I know I don't have a rear view mirror. I keep checking. I'm not playing with the radio. I'm not fiddling with my cell phone or putting on lip gloss, which I really don't do all those things. But just giving you an example. I mean, when I see people nowadays on the road, like I don't teach anymore, riding around with no helmet, it just makes me want to cringe. Um, I wore a very protected upper. Um, I had an Aprilia Futura, and um, have Aprilia Futura, and have a Aprilia racing jacket that I wear that's got Kevlar in it and spine protector. And in any case, I wear all the stuff. Nice helmet. But I do end up wearing jeans, which I might as well be wearing shorts. When I see people in shorts, you crashing at 40 miles per hour, 45, burn through a pair of jeans in zero point 0.8 seconds, whereas it takes 12 seconds to burn through leather. So that really is, or something synthetic is the safest thing. So when you see someone riding around in shorts, yeah, you might as well be wearing jeans. But then they're wearing flip flops. No, you got to wear boots that go over the ankle. Um, they can rebuild a lot of things in the body, but rebuilding ankles is a different story. And again, helmets. Gotta wear a helmet. And if you do ride, and if you drop your helmet, this is a big fact that a lot of people don't realize. Even falling from the height of your kitchen table, landing on a hard floor, your helmet, the interior structure can be compromised at that point. And you don't know because you can't take the helmet apart and check and have it still be intact because you've just taken your helmet apart. And it may not be able to actually save your life at that point because it's been compromised. So if you ever, that's why you never leave your helmet on the back of your bike or on the handlebars, you set it on the ground. That is why uh, you just never know. Helmets fail. So yeah, there's a little tip to you if anybody's riding a motorcycle, please wear a helmet. Other news about today, like I said, I have a horse. He injured himself January 1st, tore his tendon, and 2 week stall rest. We got him out. 2 weeks later, he promptly, I wouldn't say tore, he injured his tendon. He flexed his tendon, I believe it was called, the injury. 2 weeks later, when we put him out, did it all over again, even worse. So he was on stall rest for 5 months. Finally put him out last month, and a week after, and he was doing great, still had his leg wrapped. Week after putting him back out, that time he came in as lame as worse than the first 2 times. What's going on here? And we thought we were going to put him down. And the vet came out and said, it's not, it just hadn't swelled yet until the vet got out. It wasn't his tendon, it was his knee. It was like, same leg. So then he was stall rest for a couple of days. Again, restricted exercise outside. So I don't know what's going on. I'm going to have a blessing done on this horse this week because then last week he got an infection in the back of his good leg on the front. The injury's on his right front leg. This is his left leg that almost turned into cellulitis. Oh my gosh. So he's been on antibiotics for almost 10 days, so he's doing good. But horses, if you have them, they're amazing, great creatures. They're like big dogs in some cases. It's very therapeutic, especially someone who's either got health issues or trying to get their life back on track after dealing with drugs and alcohol or anything, relationship. I mean, there actually are a lot of ranches that do just basic therapy with horses. And a lot of places also would be happy to let you volunteer, just come clean stalls and they don't have to pay you. You get to be around the horses. In any case, he has, and this is my horse Han Solo, he's just got such a sweet demeanor to him. I feel so bad that he keeps having all this stuff happen, but keep getting over the hump. So today I went, I go out there every single day, and we have a barn kitty, Padme, another Star Wars animal, and we only adopted her because she was basically a feral cat that was unadoptable, and AC Paws had a strict no barn policy, and I said, why let her live? She's going to be put down or live in this shed that you have a lady that was one of the foster homes taking care of it. I said, how about we try and experiment and put them outside in a barn? And we had a heated area for her, and she got attention. It was around people all the time, and it was two of them. And the other one came around faster, but it took this one about a year, and now she's extremely friendly. We don't have the other cat anymore, but she's still out there, and she's in love with my mom's horse. That horse, who has an oral fixation with just licking, he sits there and licks the wall. For when I left the barn tonight, he was still licking his wall after having done it for 10 minutes. I don't know. If you open the door, and she'll run over to Norman, and she'll let him lick her from head to toe, so that afterwards she looks like she went through a car wash, basically. I have to finally go, will you two cut it out? It's ridiculous. He did pick her up one time. I wasn't there to watch it, but anyway, it's cute. I mean, barn life is amazing. It's expensive. And like I said, oranges get injuries. They basically wake up in the morning and think, I don't think they think this, but it's basically when you let them out, how can I go outside and injure myself? It's almost like they do that. Well, especially baby horses. So Hans doing good. Better, I should say, today. Doing good, doing better. But as I walked into the barn, having already been in there, went to get his medicine next door, here comes a raccoon running out. I thought, are you kidding me? I've had to move the corn that we had out there into my garage because raccoons keep breaking into it. And we also have 25 deer, 5 of which are actually the locals that I've had here for years. Knew them when they were babies and such, but my mom feeds the squirrels and stuff. Not the deer, the squirrels. Maybe the deer. And there's 25 deer that are out there every night, so I will have videos of those deer at some point. And the horses, and I'll post them. I've got an Instagram going. So anybody watching this, I've got email at the Nicole Howard Show at gmail.com. I've got same exact title for my Instagram. I'm getting all this stuff loaded as we speak, so you will be able to contact me. So today I just wanted to talk a little bit about my day, about the stuff I saw on TV, and conversation piece. So this is going to be more of what I talk about, and this is the direction my head is on how I think about things. So if you agree with some of the things I've spoken about today and are interested, then keep watching me. And like I said, hopefully in the next week I can make this a live show and people can call in, but it's all a work in progress. So I do appreciate anybody that has watched my 2 episodes now and are enjoying it. Oh, let's see. Here's Anakin. Anakin, say hi. With his one white toe. There you go. Yeah, it's my little boy. Okay, you can go back. Like, come on, man. I was trying to... I know you were sleeping. Well, guess what? You don't get to stay here all night anyway, so... You guys, like I said, I mentioned he was there, but you had no idea. I'm leaning on the edge of my seat right now so that he can be comfortable. Because if I don't do this, he circles me like a black furry shark. And yes, it's Shark Week also. Till I give him his gift, he just has to have his way. So I've just learned to. And also, I don't have children. My children are my animals, basically. And I've never been married. So my animals are, I think parents probably know the feeling of, from what I've seen and heard, because I have friends with kids. Sometimes you have to back down. Sometimes you win. Some fights I win with him, but some he wins. Anyway, so this is one of the ones he's won. But he's a good boy. He's a good cat. And he's sitting here purring right now. So, again, thank you for watching. Thank you for any support. I hope that you continue to check in and see where this goes, and eventually people become followers, and that would be great. So I hope you had. This is it's July the 22nd, 2025, Tuesday. Yesterday was the 21st. So um, thank you very much. I hope everybody had a great first 2 days of your week, and I will post another one tomorrow. Okay, thanks a lot.